It's very interesting because you are talking about bikers, and I wanted to ask you about Hells Angels, because, well, I want to ask you something, and I want to be very clear. I'm not asking whether you or your organization did anything illegal. I'm not asking you that. But I know some groups, and one more time, not talking about you in the past, but I know some Nazi groups, they also became profitable by using alcohol, drugs, even prostitution to engage people and even to be sort of profitable. I think about Hells Angels, for instance. One more time, I'm not asking you whether you perform whether you did anything illegal. That's not the question. But are you aware that those type of illegal business can be run by certain Nazi groups in America?
It can. I think I want to differentiate. Hell's Angels is a motorcycle club. It's not. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say it's a white power organization, or it doesn't. It
Well,
doesn't
but
fall.
some of their symbols, they wear the swastika very often. Some of them, I don't know. I mean,
They
some of
do.
them
They do.
at least.
And
Mhm.
a lot of the bike clubs do, but some of them will even have people that are not white as members. So more of in the
Mhm.
bike clubs, they
You're
do
right.
use the symbolisms, but they would a lot of them would be hard pressed to tell you anything about National Socialism. They're not political. They're using those symbols to shock and to again because they're
Okay.
powerful symbols. So that's why a lot of those groups do that. Now, that's not to say there isn't white nationalist type biker gangs, because there's a few, but Hell's Angels doesn't fall into that category. They're more of your what they call a one percenter, which is
Yeah.
outlaw bikers. So um, outlaw kind of explains that all in itself. But they are not politically motivated. Those groups are motivated by for loyalty to the club, to the gang, whatever you want to
Mm.
call it. But it's a little bit different. But to answer your question about criminal activity in some of the groups, there is there is evidence of that, and there is a lot. I mean, there's quite a bit of evidence of that in certain groups. Certain groups, absolutely not. The organization that I was part of, if we found people engaging in drugs, now alcoholism was big. I mean, there was a lot of problems with alcohol amongst group members, and in some of the organizations, there's drug issues. But typically, anyone using drug, I remember being at a number of things, and I can say this now because it doesn't matter. But um, where if we found people using drugs at an event or something like that, if they were doing it at their home, we didn't know about it. That's one thing. But if you're showing up at a rally or something and we smell drugs coming out of somebody's room or something like that at a hotel, they're getting beat up. I
Okay.
mean, I engaged in things like that myself. We didn't allow it. It was very strict. Towards the end, now the laws changed in the United States a little bit as far as like
Mm.
marijuana. Um, for example, here in Michigan, you can have it. In California, Colorado, some of the different states,
Mm.
it's legal. So we started relaxing restrictions on things like that, but we still didn't want them showing up at a rally high or with drugs or things like that. So that was loosening up a little bit. But earlier on, I mean, absolutely not with the drugs. But other groups are different. If you look at um, prison gangs, like Aryan Brotherhood is
Yeah.
one, Aryan
Mm.
Circle, some of those type of groups, they're involved in criminal activity on the inside. And when their guys get out, a lot of times they're still involved in criminal activity on the outside. They're known for that. They're not particular. Again, it does go. They are white nationalist, or actually white power um, based, but I don't even know if based is the right word. They are white power type guys, but their motivation is more criminal than it is political. You're not going to hear about a Aryan Brotherhood guy necessarily. They may never attend political events, rallies, or anything political. They're strictly what's good for the gang. It might be stealing air conditioners out of somebody's window, or stealing cars, or dealing drugs. It's completely different. So again, we're talking about this broad brush. Nobody fits. I shouldn't say nobody. Certain groups fit into that
Yeah.
category of criminality, and other ones stay away from it. For NSM, and I can answer it. I really am transparent with how I speak about my experiences. So
Mm.
because we're all trying to solve these things together. So I want to help in any way possible. But for the NSM, we knew we were being monitored by the FBI, by different organizations and things like that. And I say monitored, like they were spying on us or watching us. If we would have been involved in any really big criminal activity, it would have been the end for the group. And that's why it was always, how do we protect the group? If a member does something really bad, really, like if they're out and they got pulled over for drunk driving, you wouldn't get thrown out necessarily for that. But if you were out drug dealing, or you killed somebody, or got in some major trouble, you automatically were thrown out of the organization because it was a major crime, and that would look bad on the organization. It wasn't that there was this deep empathy of like, oh no, he shouldn't have done that bad thing. I mean, of course there's that. Everyone has that to a degree, but the real motivating factor was that will make our group look bad.
Okay.
And and that's sad, but that's how it was.